Doot doot. Google Chrome here. Pause my live stream, but pull this up. Move this over. Here we go. This will work. Just want to be able to see my comment box. Whoop. Let's move this really big. Oh, wait. No. You know, that's fine. Be fine right here where it was. But I'm gonna take down. Oh wait, we're looking at. Are we looking at? Okay, I'll fix that. Fix that a moment, because we're not looking at my main account here. Well, I guess we can view from there. Why not? Cancelled. Let's put on some music. Ugh. Ooh. So there's a supply resources I think I'm going to do for Guildfest for this account. Yeah, totally gonna do it. And then what I can do is use basically just send myself 60 million food. Do I have a macro for this? Supply food. I do. Cool. What is this set to? 13. We'll do it infinitely until stopped. That'll work. And then start. Cool. And now we'll come out here and watch our food grow. I love macros so much. Useful. Very, very useful. $22 mil. Guild quest, admin quest, guild quest. I'm going to guess that most people have probably used all of their quest scrolls by now because it's Friday and there's only like 2 more full days of Guildfest, but I'm going to leave these trade ships up. 4-day I'm going to delete, and I'm going to keep the 1-day and 2-day durations because those are more. So we don't have 4 days left of Guildfest, so. And delete that admin quest scroll thing. Oh, we're at 61 mil. We're gonna have to go a little over because of the trade tax. I think that should be good though. Yeah, 70's plenty. Alright, so now what we'll do is go over here, supply, and we'll send the food back to the account that I had it on. I know you guys can't see you can see the mouse, but you can't see the window that I'm using to click, or that I'm clicking on, so. send all that food back. You can see my mouse is here, but I'm not clicking. It's macro. They work great. Basically, if you don't know how macro works, is there's a program that BlueStacks has that this emulator has. So basically, you go to the menu and you click on record, and what it does is it records every movement your mouse does and every click your mouse does, and then you click stop, and you can set up that entire click cycle to do multiple cycles or just one cycle, or you can set it to unlimited number of cycles. You can slow it down, speed it up, but all you're doing is just modifying that one clicking pattern that you recorded. So it's limited to what you can do with it, but like you can't put on a full-on bot system and do like darkness and gather and all that. It doesn't work like that because there's no tile detection or anything like that. It's just literally clicking, like just clicking as if you were to do it yourself. So I think that's why it's legal for the game, because it's literally just clicks. But I do this for like resource trades for Guildfest. I use it to create fake helps for Guildfest quests, for helps, like helping people or whatever. So I use it for just little things here and there that are typically really annoying for you to sit there and constantly click. So So while this is going, oh, not going anymore. Okay, so, if you've watched some of my other videos, especially like the Dragon Arena ones, you'll notice something specific that I do, which is sizing up my opponent. And I didn't realize how well or how good I was at it until one of my newer guild members approached me and he's like, how the hell do you do that? Like, he was telling me that he's only met, like, he only knew like a couple of different other players that could do something similar, like basically read a castle and get an idea of like how powerful their castle is with like troops. So if you watched my rallying videos, I have this habit of looking at the stats of another player, and I kind of determined whether they could handle a solo march or if they could handle a rally, to get an idea of how much of a threat they are to me specifically. Like, so what I'm going to do, since we don't have any people commenting IGNs yet for like castle analysis, I think we're just gonna look around at random castles and do it that way. So there's not a whole lot of castles in my kingdom. My kingdom's like almost dead. And Sugar Alliance, like Criminal Alliance, the Sugars and BRRs here, so Sugar and Rose. And there's those castles, they're not really much to look at with stats, just because their stats are impressive. But what I mean is that there's no point trying to analyze their castle, because you know that majority of their castles have tons of troops. So you wouldn't try to size them up. Like, there's no point to size up one of their Titan accounts. So what we're going to do, let's go to a newer kingdom. Has the kingdoms reached 600 yet? They have. Oh wait, 654. Okay, so let's. Whoop. Okay, I'm clicking on things I don't want to be clicking on. So let's try 700. Have they reached? Obviously they reached 600 because I'm at 654. But let's see if they reach 700. They have, and they're restricted. Holy crap, they only have one. Well, that could be like the halfway mark, because there's 2 rounds of restriction now. Thank you, IGG. But it's hard to say how old this kingdom is by now. This one's 45 days. Let's check this one out. How young is this guild? How young is this overlord? This is definitely a new kingdom for sure. Look at that, 59 mil. Okay, so let's see what this guy's got going. So, first off, you want to analyze gear, and you want to analyze stats. And I'm going to break it down and kind of explain what I mean by this and why I do it. Okay, so if you look here, this guy's 59 million might. As young as this kingdom is, obviously he spends money, right? Gear-wise, it looks like that he's not a huge spender, so he doesn't look like he's going for champion gear. And a lot of this stuff you can get as free-to-play, but it would take a while to get some of it. Like this main hand right here would take a while. It would take a while to get these 3 accessories, the blue. This coat is definitely not easy. You can get this to white easily. And these boots are not easy to get to gold either. So it looks like he spends a little bit of money on packs for gear, unless this is fake gear. It could be fake gear, but it looks like newbie war gear to me, honestly. So if this guy is in war gear, he's probably sitting around some. Wait, I can look at his location. Okay, so this guy is shielded, so it's not necessarily his war gear. If he was unshielded, sitting next to the wilds or whatever, I would say that he is probably war gear. He's basically saying, hey, don't touch me, I'm big. But he's shielded at the moment, so this may not be his war gear. But it doesn't look like he fights very much either, though. So it looks like he's pretty peaceful. This also could be an alt. I don't know. I don't know that guild. I don't know that guy. But just going after his gear. Now let's look at his stats. So he's got 276 victories and 275 successful attacks. Okay, so it looks like he might be a tile hitter or burns people much smaller than him that are vulnerable. He doesn't really take on anyone his own size. Not saying there is anyone his size in this kingdom, so it may just be the fact that he's not able to find anyone equal to his strength. So he's got 1 fail attack, 1 successful defense, which means that no one has bothered to hit him in this kingdom except for like 1 guy. And 9 failed defenses. Interesting. So he's been burned 9 times. That is very interesting. Alright, let's keep looking. So you always have to take in account of all of this stuff. And then when you look at the troops, man, so he's killed 1.5 million troops, which is not a lot at all, even in the beginning. Like if you're constantly going around burning things, burning up relocators and stuff, this grows very quickly. So troop kills is pretty low. Troop loss, wow, troop loss is very tiny, and troops wounded. Okay, so it looks like he's got some wounded troops here. Troop loss. What do I make of this? So you have very little kills, and even his successful defenses and failed defenses is very low, with his win rate really high. I would say this guy probably does a lot of shielding. I'd say this guy does a lot of shielding. What are my guild members going on about? Anyway. So this guy probably does a lot of shielding. He doesn't really fight that much. Really though, it looks like the hits that he has taken, looks like the attacks he has taken, this had to have been early on in the game. This isn't recent gameplay. I believe this successful defense is more recent than these failed defenses. So this is actually really hard to look at because this, like, the stats at this point so early in the game don't necessarily reflect the habits of the player. This guy could have a bunch of troops. Really, he could. It's hard to say because he's got a small amount of kills. It looks like he just shields and grows, honestly. He might have taken like a few small hits when he was smaller, but you see this guy probably just grows troops and doesn't do anything. He probably just stays shielded. In fact, if you just showed up, I doubt this guy would even attack you. It doesn't look like he would break his shield at all. Like, I wouldn't expect this guy to attack you unless you look like that. You look like he could take you on easily. But because of this, you'd think people would at least one-troop him, right? If he gets annoying to smaller players. Because smaller players will one-troop you. So, I'd say this guy doesn't even fight. He just sits in his bubble. He could have some troops, but it looks like he sits in his bubble and his guild does all the work. So this is probably an alt. If I had to say, it's probably an alt. He's probably got something bigger in the guild. Might ranking. Yep, look at this. These big boys here, these two guys, they do all of the work. Look at that. 10 mil. 5 mil, yeah. So I bet this is an alt to one of these two players. That would be my guess. Either that or this guy just shields all the time, lets these two guys do all the work. But that's my guess. Let's look at those other two guys while we're in here. Let's look at these guys. Okay, so this guy, obviously he's in research and construction gear. Research gear. Research. I think research, I'm not sure. Let's see. Sorry, my nose itches. So, he attacks a lot. He's got a good chunk of losses, too. Failed attacks. So he's burned a few times, but he's got more successful defenses, which means he's got enough troops to trap something. Or at least to not burn. 203 million. He might even have tier 4 at this point. He could have tier 4 with that much might. Really, I would safely assume that anyone that's over like 120 million probably has tier 4. Especially if they are pretty much zeroed and they don't have a lot of troops and they have a lot of research might. Expect that they have tier 4 unlocked or are really close to it. Let's look at his military stats. His battle stats. So, troops killed, 9 mil. Traps destroyed. So this traps destroyed means that he hits a lot of castles. And I mean a lot of castles. He probably goes around burns hives for fun. So I wouldn't say that he's necessarily a tile hitter, but he's definitely hitting castles. Cause look at the traps destroyed. So troops lost 1.2 million. So he's definitely hitting traps too. Like he's hitting solo traps. He doesn't seem to care. He's just hitting everything. He's a pretty ballsy player, if you ask me. Troops wounded. So he's gotten some wounded troops, which means that he has hit some traps, and people have hit him with full marches. Probably newbies. Probably newbies. So what do I make of this guy overall? He hits castles. He's got a decent amount of kills for how long he's been in this kingdom. Wound rate, troops lost. So his troops wounded means that he's healed that many. So he definitely traps people easily. But look at his size advantage in this kingdom, in this newer kingdom. So it kind of makes sense that he'd have that kind of advantage. So it's hard to say if he's an actual solo trap. He probably just has a bunch of troops, honestly. He has at least a couple million troops if he's able to eat. Yeah. So going up against him, I probably wouldn't attack him directly if I had to fight him. I wouldn't send him a solo. I'd probably, if I came across this guy in Dragon Arena, I'd rally him. So he probably couldn't take a rally, honestly. Not a properly like full rally. But then again, the kingdom he's in wouldn't be able to rally someone his size. They're not strong enough. There's probably not a strong enough rally leader to pull it off. This guy could probably be sitting without a shield right now with a bunch of leaders and wouldn't care at all. Sleep soundly at night. He's probably got a good chunk of troops. We'll look at this other guy in a second. Let me check my Facebook page. Alright. So let's look at this guy. So this guy is not in war gear. It looks like he's in speed gear. What is this guy doing? It looks like he's changed a few of his pieces to suit his like upkeep needs, but I don't know. Maybe he's trying to stay food positive with these here. He's got a speed gear here. Cav damage. What is this guy doing? Infantry damage. Like, infantry range or cav range, I can't remember. I think it's in range damage, definitely. But what's up with these? What's that? Like army HP and food production. And research. Why doesn't he have 3 of these at 122 million might? He does have 3 of these, probably. What is this guy doing? I'm confused. I don't feel like this guy knows what the hell he's doing at all. Alright, let's look at his stats. So, 246 victories. Holy crap, that's a lot of kills for the little bit of attacking he's been doing. The other guy's got like, I guess the other guy's double. This guy is zeroing out people like crazy. Like, he's got a ton of kills. So this guy's been hitting newbies. He's not been hitting tiles. He's been hitting people that leave their troops out, that aren't in, that have really low research, and like, he's really hitting. Like, this guy's basically a bully. Look at that. Look at that. Whoa, what? 381 losses. This guy has lost 2 million troops. Okay, so this guy he hits any mass of troops he can, it looks like. Look at that. He hits traps like crazy. Look at this. Successful attacks, 210. So that's how many times he's burned a castle. Dude, this guy just hits anything. This guy's an idiot. Either that or he likes spending his money. This guy is stupid. This is the kind of player that you would lure in for a trap during KVK. And he'd probably get pissed and just send waves of troops because he's dumb. Which kind of makes me think that he doesn't have a lot of troops to begin with if he's using research gear, probably to keep his food positive. This guy is just stupid. This guy's not smart. I wonder where his mic comes from. Maybe some research? I don't know. This guy doesn't look very smart to me. I'd have to watch him and monitor how he moves and reacts to things, but troops killed, 4 million. Traps destroyed. So he does hit castles, but he hits traps. Like, it looks like he goes after traps. He's very selective. He's not going to hit a castle unless it's overflowing with troops. He hits big juicy targets. And he suffers for it. Like, he suffers for it. Look at that. So wounded troops. Yeah. This guy either enjoys hitting traps or he's just stupid and gets baited all the time. It looks like this guy just sends waves of troops after things and tries to gangbang people. This kind of player is not smart. Dude, when his kingdoms gets released, dude, this guy's gonna zero himself. This guy's not smart. This guy's not smart. He's dumb. So you see kind of how I analyze people. As you get an idea of their tendencies and habits just by looking at their stats, and kind of you compare the stats to their other stats. So, you know, a trap would have really high wound rate, a lot of kills, and very little troop loss, right? So if they have really high wounded rate and very little troop loss, dude, you might want to stay away from that. That's probably a solo trap, rally trap. Dude, you don't want to mess with that. There's another scenario. If they have a really high wound rate and very little kills, it means that they probably leave their troops out a lot, or they try to protect their friends, and they don't have a lot of either they don't have a lot of stats or they don't know how to use their stats properly, so their troops get zeroed out. Alright, so those players look like pushovers. There's a lot of different ways to read troops, to read stats. That's kind of why I'm doing this video. I'll probably do these more in the future too. That way people can kind of learn of how to read stats, because it's not something that is necessarily taught to players, and it's a lot of typing in chat, so a lot of bigger players don't even bother, and it's something that comes over time with experience. And really the only way you learn is by monitoring stats to begin with. And if you don't monitor stats and you just wait for a scout report, you're not even going to learn this skill. It's not something that you're going to learn over time either. So, excuse me. So I'm going to ask my guild members and see if they want to pop into chat, because I have some guild members that I don't think know how to read stats very well at all. So if they join in, yep. See, so I have Raiden showing up, and I'm gonna say just give me some IGN accounts to look at, and I will analyze them and explain how I do it. Okay, cool. Alright, Raiden, welcome to my live stream. So what I've been doing is just kind of going to random kingdoms and looking at different players and kind of doing stat analysis and explain why I think the way that I do on those stats. So I do this a lot during Dragon Arena, which you guys probably don't notice it unless you guys watch my videos. Is I'll pull up one of the enemy castles and I'll look at the stats, and I'll determine whether I can solo that guy or if I'll need to rally him, or if I'm going to have to worry about him reinforcing his guild members. So just look around and give me a random castle. I just went over these two guys here. This guy and this guy. And this guy looks really stupid. He probably... I wouldn't doubt if this guy has actually zeroed himself on a trap before, because this guy is like really ballsy and arrogant. I'd love for him to pop into our kingdom and just like attack some of our castles. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing based on his stats. So yeah, you can either post the IGN in the live stream chat, which is what I prefer, or if you really feel like you need to, you can put it in our guild chat. You guys eat blueberry muffins in your country? It's like sweet bread with blueberries. I'm sure you guys probably have it. You want me to analyze luck? Nah, you know what? I'm not going to analyze luck. I'll let other people do the analysis on our guild. I'm not going to give people a reason to come burn our hive. Well, the problem with our kingdom is that it's full of titans, and there's not really any point doing a stat analysis on a titan because you already assume that they have like millions of troops anyway. So there's no point in sizing up someone you know you can't solo. That's why I went to a random kingdom. Let's look at another kingdom. These are all like newer kingdoms. This one's a bit older. Flaming Fart. Okay. Interesting. Also, I probably should do this. Yeah. Let's look at Flaming Fart. 500. Jesus. Interesting gear. Okay. So, some of this is speed gear. This chest piece is not speed gear. I wonder what he's using it for. Wonder what he's using this for, too. This is like a growth item. It's not necessarily a war item. And these are war items, too. What's this guy doing? Is he just trying to add some speed to his, like, march? What is it? This guy's got 575 million might. And he doesn't have any kind of champ gear? Like, what is this guy? What is this? It's 114 million kills. What is this guy doing? This cannot be his real gear. Like, yeah, totally, for construction. Like, this guy, this cannot be his real war gear. I refuse to believe this is his war gear. Let's look at his stats. Okay, so look, 5,300 victories, alright? He's only had 51 losses and a bunch of successful attacks. Okay, so the question is this guy hitting tiles? He's hitting castles. And the way that we look at that, so we come down here to traps destroyed. See how big that number is? He's definitely hitting castles. He might hit tiles from time to time. I don't know, but he definitely hit castles. That's without a doubt. So he's got 29 failed attacks. So he's got some obvious power. Either that or he picks on little guys. But with 5,000 victories, I'd say he probably hits everything. So like his damage or his victories versus like kills is, I think, pretty decent. It looks like he probably fights at the fort quite a bit. And during KVK, like, he doesn't look like he's afraid to hit a player that's got some decent might. So this guy does look like he's probably got some balls to him. So world rankings. I can't look at the world rank. Oh, you just want me to go to 426. Okay, I will after this guy. So so his wounded troops that he's gotten is, so wounded troops is a mixture of his troops getting wounded from attacking people and then people attacking him. And if you look at his successful defenses, it looks like people have hit him quite a bit. Like, a lot. But this could also mean defenses from people hitting his camps, hitting his tiles, hitting his forts. Like, this can be used as this can be accumulated from different ways other than people hitting his castle directly. But this guy does a lot of defending for one reason or another, which means he probably, like, if you look at his wounded versus his kills, like, he has some serious power, like some serious stats, like really good stats. And his trap loss, no one really hits his castle very often. So either that or he just doesn't build traps. But depending, or just based on his might, he probably has full traps, full wall. Like, he probably has a really big wall and a lot of traps. And probably tier 4 traps at his size. I wouldn't doubt it. So no one really hits his castle, so that means that his failed defenses, or even his successful defenses, like both of these, are probably from like wonders, forts, just fighting for overlords, so on and so forth. So this guy, let's see, how many troops would you think he has? He's got all these kills, very little troop loss compared to those kills, and no one hits his castle. I say this guy's got troops out the ass, alright? Like, he probably has a ton of troops. So I probably wouldn't even bother rallying this guy without a scout report. I mean, honestly, even inside of an arena, like, it'd be kind of pointless. I mean, you could rally him for fun, but you're probably going to fail that rally. Because, no, obviously, with his, like, traps loss, like, No one's even bothered trying to rally this guy, but this guy's kingdom is probably under protection. Like, no one probably bothers him here. Look, he's sitting here without a shield. So yeah, nobody bothers this dude. He's not afraid of anything in this kingdom. This is his kingdom. Alright, so let's go over to 426. We'll look at the Overlord here. Ritzy girl. Dude, I told you Titans are kind of pointless to look at. I'll explain why. Titans are like pointless to look at because their stats are outrageous, okay? Although you can evaluate their habits from their stats, it's kind of pointless because you would never try to go 1v1 against a person that has like nearly 2 billion might. Like, even that 500 million guy that we just looked at, like, you wouldn't necessarily try to 1v1 him. Like, there's no point. It would just be you attacking his castle and causing smoke and losing troops, vice versa. Like going back and forth. There's no point. There's no point. So really, you'd have to get a feel for what his stats look like by looking at his gear. And, I mean, you can kind of get a nice idea of their stats. But this person, you know they have... You know this isn't their real gear. Like, this is not their war gear. You'd be stupid to think this is their war gear at this might. They probably have full Mythic Champ. And they probably have multiple sets of Mythic Champ. They probably have a cav set, infantry set, and probably a range set. All with separate jewels, man. Like, this person's got money. They spend money. This is not their real gear. So, this is kind of pointless to look and evaluate their stats because you wouldn't be going up against them head on. And you'd probably avoid rallying this player too, so it's kind of pointless. Let's look at a different kingdom. The reason I'm going to the newer kingdoms is because they're less likely to have they're less likely to have Titans. Royal Wraith. 204 million might. 43 million kills. He's got a lot of kills. Like, a lot of kills. This guy does a lot of hits. I can already tell that. By the age of this kingdom, this guy hits a lot. Take a bite of my blueberry muffin here. Alright, so his gear is pretty decent. It's not super expensive champ gear, but it's definitely not easy to get some of these items to purple. Like these worm seals here, they're kind of a pain. The scroll's kind of a pain to get to purple as well. Basically every piece of this gear, I'd say the easiest piece of this gear to upgrade is these what are these called? The hive chaps, or honeycomb chaps. There you go, honeycomb chaps. These are the easiest to upgrade out of this entire set. That's why they're orange. This glove can be a nuisance, but it's not too terribly difficult. It's probably why he's got it to mythic. As far as this other stuff, these halos are a pain. Grim Reaper item was that item that is needed for this upgrade. It's like forget what it's called. It's like the goat skull thing. This is kind of a pain to get to purple. This is a pain to upgrade as well. This guy does spend, looks like he spends a bit of money on his gear. He could have some champ set or champ gear in the making, but this is probably what he's got best of right now. Let's look at his stats. What his stats look like. So 2,000 attacks or victories, 2,000 successful, 42 losses. So this guy does a decent amount of attacking. And where's his traps destroyed? 1.8 mil. Okay, so yeah, this guy hits castles. This guy hits active castles. Looks like he probably goes for traps too. Look at his troop loss. Got a little chunk there. So yeah, he's probably not. He doesn't look like he's afraid to hit a solo trap. And wounded troops. So yeah, he's taken some wounded. Failed, successful defenses. Oh man, this guy's got a lot. But his failed defenses is 9. But if people were hitting him constantly, this guy would have a lot more wounded, troops wounded. So I'd say this guy probably doesn't take a lot of attacks himself. Maybe he's taken a few during like KVK, but he doesn't burn very easily. So this guy probably has a chunk of troops. He probably doesn't have it's probably all tier 3 and tier 4. I doubt he has tier 5 at his might. He might have some tier 4. He probably does have a few. But he's probably got a bunch of tier 3 and can take quite a bit of solo hits here. So, would I rally this guy? Based on his gear, I'd probably rally him in an arena setting where I'm not afraid to lose something, because whether he burns or not, he's going to take a good loss of troops. Like, he's going to lose a good chunk. I wouldn't expect him to have a bunch of tier 2, just because his wound rate is really low compared to what he's done. So if he had a bunch of tier 2, I'd expect a lot higher wound rate, especially with 41,000 kills. Like, I'd expect this wound rate to be really high if he's a solo trap. He's probably just a growing titan. That's probably what he is. He's got a bunch of tier 3, tier 4. What about guildmates? Does he have guildmates to look at? He's got a 310 guy. Oh, this guy definitely spends money. Look at this. He's got some hunting gear. He's got champ. These cups, guys, if you've been playing for a while, you know these cups are a pain. He's got them to blue. This ring's a pain too. He's got this to purple. His gloves are a pain. He's got that to purple. This isn't necessarily so bad. This guy spends money. Definitely spends money. And look at this champ gear. He's got these pretty high, which means he's spent probably a couple $1,000s at least. 310,000 might, or million, sorry, 310 million might, 66 million kills. Yep, same as the last guy. Look at that. The last guy was at 40-something million kills. This guy is not much higher, which means this guy has taken more. He's killed more troops in each of his hits, which means he's had. I mean, his stats are higher than the last guy, obviously, especially with that gear. 37 losses. Let's look at the successful defenses. 220 failed defenses 6, and his wound rate. So nobody's hitting this guy. Nobody's trying to solo this guy. Nobody's rallying this guy. He's got 3 million wounded troops, and it's probably from fighting forts or getting a few wounded from attacking other castles. Traps destroyed, 3.7 mil. Yeah, so he's definitely hitting castles. He's hitting traps. He's hitting everything. Look at this guy. And troops lost. 3.4 mil versus troops killed. Yeah. This guy goes for easy targets. It looks like this guy probably plays it safe. It doesn't seem like he hits anything without a scout report. He plays it safe. He's probably a very smart player if he's playing that way. Because no one hits a trap unless they get a scout report. If they do, they're going to get a lot more troop losses. So this guy probably won't hit you with a... I mean, you could have like a 90 million might castle with anti-scout. This guy probably won't touch you. Unless he's feeling ballsy or he's desperate for like KVK points. This guy's probably not going to hit you. He probably has a bunch of troops too. Because people that play it safe typically don't waste their troops. Rallying this guy during an arena is probably taking a chance. Successful defenses. You can probably take a rally. You can probably take a rally or two. Especially with this gear. I'm not so specifically sure if these are infantry, cavalry, or... But this is definitely infantry. This is infantry. I think these might be infantry cav. Not sure on that. This is range. This guy could be wearing trap gear. It kind of looks trappy. It kind of looks trappy. I think this might be infantry. I think this might be cav infantry. There might be some range in here, but this guy looks trappy. So I wouldn't... Rallying this guy kind of looks like a lost cause, honestly. He looks like he'd eat it. Alright guys, well, that's pretty much it for this video. I got some Guildfest stuff to do, so I'll try to do another one of these videos again soon. And hope you guys learned a little something about reading stats, because you smaller guys that are free to play, definitely a good skill to have. Being able to read your opponent and knowing where you're going up against can give you it can give you a leg up in a fight. It really can, because you kind of know what to expect from that player. You know whether they're more than likely to hit you or not. And that's pretty much it. You know their tendencies, you know their habits. It's a good skill to have. So I'll see you next time, guys.